who made it to the workshop today. What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the AW, your forever safe space to chill, feel, and heal. If you're new here, the AW stands for Eretic's Workshop. I'm Eretic, and the workshop is a space for you to sit in your shadows, reflect on your thoughts, and come out on top. For my OGs, quick announcements. We are no longer on SoundCloud, so if you listened on SoundCloud, you're probably not listening to this episode at this very moment. But if you follow me from SoundCloud, then you know that I didn't have episode 4 up on there because of various reasons. But I am now on PodBean, and that is PodBean, if you have that app or not. But if not, I will be uploading to more streaming services through PodBean, so just keep your eye out. I will let you guys know, at least by next episode, what exactly or which apps I will be on. So stay tuned. But I'm still on Spotify, still on YouTube, still on Apple Podcasts, and now on PodBean. So yes, you guys. And for the people who watch my YouTube, new angle. Okay, we got a new angle. You know, everyone loves the personable angle of seeing someone's mouth. So I definitely wanted to switch it up and figure out different things. I'm just dealing with a very tight, limited space here. So I've spent the last hour trying to figure this setup out. And I wasn't going to do it this episode, but then I decided like, well, let's just go ahead and get it out of the way. Let's just do it. But without that, everything else, all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into this week's episode by spinning the block. Let's go, y'all. So if you're new here, spinning the block is basically me just doing a weekly catch up with you guys, just going down memory lane to just let you know what's been up with me. So this week has been challenging, not gonna lie. It has been one of those weeks where it's just like, what am I doing? What am I doing in my life? Can something change? Can something happen? Because oh my god, I'm just going through it. But let's start with the downside, I guess, because we always want to end on a high note, you know. I got to buy some more concert tickets this week, so that's really nice. I'm going to see Alex Isley in August. I love her so much. She just kind of just touches my soul like no other. So I got to get her tickets, and I decided to treat myself for just really like a year anniversary in my new city, just working towards my goals like I said I was going to, just celebrating me. So I decided I was gonna get VIP tickets because why not? And not like the meet and greets or anything, but more so like premium seating, so I can sit at the balcony, I can like have my own little area to go to the bar and stuff like that. So I decided I was going to treat myself, especially because I normally go to concerts alone, especially being in a new city. It's just nice to have like your own seat. So when you want to go to the bathroom or go to the bar or whatever, you're not losing your spot because you're in general admission. And I've been to a lot of concerts, general admission by myself. And sometimes I find cool people who are like, yeah, I'll hold your spot. But some people will be like, no, I'm taking this spot. So I just wanted to, you know, treat myself as I should. Everyone should treat themselves. So that's been a highlight. Also been finalizing some plans with my bestie for our little festival in September. And we're actually just going to be living it up, y'all. I'm not going to give y'all the details. Y'all just going to have to see it on social media once it pops. Of course, I'll come and talk about it once it happens. But I'm just super excited about it. It's going to be so much fun. And it's in like fall in New York. It's just going to be so nice. So yeah, that's that. So on the other side of things, I am still, you know, battling through the whole corporate thing. But aside from that, I had a thought this week I had a shadow pop up this week that really made me think like I need to sit and evaluate this, and I really need to sit in my altar and just like meditate on it and do some shadow work in my journal so that I can get past this. So the biggest questions for me this week that popped up is, what does it look like for me to be happy despite my current circumstances, and what does it look like for me to be happy despite what's going on outside of me? How can I look within to be happy rather than having external sources to make me happy? I'm still at a crossroads with that, and I'm still working through that because I can't let the little things in life get me down. I can't let like my job get me down. I can't let things and people and situations get me down. Like, how do I keep my inner peace and keep myself happy no matter what's going on around me? Like, even if the worst things are going on, how do I keep my center and keep a positive mindset and hope and keep my faith alive, you know? So that's something that I'm going through, and it's been rough. It's been a little rough. I'm not going to lie. So I just like to be transparent in what's going on in my life because we all go through things like this and we're all trying to figure it out. And I don't want to come on here and act like I'm just always in a good mood or I just always have it all figured out, because I don't. I'm out here just like y'all trying to figure it out, and it's a roller coaster because some days you feel up and some days you feel down and some days you feel neutral and some days you just don't feel anything. So I'm just here to give y'all the real deal. I'm never going to fluff anything or act like I'm just on top all the time, because I'm not. But I do know how to parade in my happy moments and the things that I'm grateful and privileged to have. So I definitely want to embrace those things as well, as much as I embrace my shadow sides and not get so down on myself. So yeah, you guys, that's been my week in a nutshell. Nothing too crazy. I'm still waiting to hear back on some news that I'll probably share next episode, not this episode. Yeah, you guys, life is just moving. It's grooving. I'm trying to make the best of it. I'm trying to stay, just positive, but also embracing when my feelings do feel a certain way. And that's really it. But I hope you guys had a fulfilling week. I hope you guys were able to do something. And even if it was a hard week for you, I hope that you just rest and relaxed and didn't go too hard on yourself, because no matter what's going on, you can't change what's going on. You can only change how you feel about the situation and how you approach the situation. So take that little note and apply it to your weeks ahead. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into a word from the fam. Let's go, y'all. So this week's word from the fam is from somebody very special and near and dear to me. I like to call her, I don't know, I'll call her this for the sake of, the loyalty. This is like Drake's real baby mama. I was first. Let's just put it out there. I've been on him since Degrassi, but I'm going to let her have him. You can have him. Steve Lacy's sister. Your favorite DJ's DJ, and the comedic relief we all need in our life. Okay, this is from my good sis, my good friend, my bestie, D-Lace Linka, aka Delina Lacey. Even though that's her real name, we call her everything else but that. This is from her, and she gave a word once upon a time. I don't know when she said this. I just know it was in my notes, and I was like, this is the perfect time to go ahead and give a word from one of my close fams, So she says, everyone deserves the love they are willing to give. That's powerful, y'all. If you're willing to put in the time and the energy and the effort into someone, something, or yourself, you deserve that back. You deserve to get the love that you put out into the world. And it doesn't mean it's going to come from everybody. It's going to come from the right people. So don't expect things from people. Don't expect everyone to just always be on your bandwagon and always want to come to the rescue for you or love you the way that you would love them or rescue them. But that doesn't mean you don't deserve it. So when people don't give you that love back, you need to go the other way and give your love towards situations and people who are going to give you that back in return, either equally or more. And you make sure that you live up to that standard as well. Don't expect people to give you more than you give. So that's a good word from my sis. And I hope to feature some of my other close sis. I never said the plural version of sis. I guess sisters. I don't know. But I have other, really close friends and really close sisters that say gems all the time. But This one's one that came up to the forefront. So, Delays, you are the word from the fam this week, girl. Thank you so much for giving me your love, light, and wisdom, and always just, making us laugh and giving us good music when we need it. Okay, girl? So, if you guys would like to be featured on A Word from the Fam, remember that you can find this podcast on IG or TikTok at the.a.w.podcast. You can also find us on YouTube to leave a comment or to just watch the episode, however you want to do it. We also stream on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as PodBean, and whichever other ones I'm going to add onto this, which I will let you guys know by the next episode, okay? But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the topic of the day. We're going to head over to Fellowship Hour through the Fellowship Hall, y'all. Let's go. So, as you guys can see by the title of this episode, we are talking about the power of communication. So important. Communication goes such a long way, and we literally would not thrive as a society if we didn't communicate. Like, if we didn't know how to communicate, it doesn't mean we have to talk. There's different ways of communication as well that happened in the olden days, whatever. But communication in general is key. It's the only way for us to know what's going on in each other's minds, what our perspectives are, how each other feels. Communication is truly my biggest motto, okay? So when it comes to communication, there's the pros and cons. There's the things that we love to do with communication, and there's the things that we don't like to consider when it comes to communication. So all of these characteristics I'm about to list off have a mixture of both pros and cons, the things that we like to do and the things we don't like to do. To me, communication consists of humility, honesty, openness, understanding, vulnerability, love, and empathy. Okay. In order to be a good communicator and in order to communicate efficiently, you have to be honest. Okay. You need to be truthful about your things. Just because you're talking to someone doesn't mean you're communicating effectively. If you're not being truthful and honest, what's the point of the communication? Just to bamboozle everybody? You need to make sure that you're able to stand in your truth. And you also need to be able to have humility about things, be able to take accountability, be able to say when you're wrong is so important in communication. Now, everybody communicates differently, and being understanding and empathetic to how people view the world, their perspective on any situation is really going to get you a lot further than if you are just so stringent in what you think and how you feel the conversation should go and how this communication should pan out. Also, if you're not willing to be vulnerable, like I said, being honest and having humility, if you're not able to be vulnerable, why are we talking? And it's not to say that every conversation that you have should be deep and super vulnerable and just letting all your layers out. That's not what I'm saying. When you're using communication as a tool to get to a resolution, a solution of some problem or anything like that, you need to be vulnerable. You need to be able to open up and say what it truly is with that honesty and humility. Because if not, you're not going to reach the solution. You're not going to get to the place that you need to be. It's not effective communication. But all in all, no matter what, love and empathy should be your number two things, your top two things that you bring into any conversation, communication, anything like that. Because when you bring love, you bring understanding. When you bring empathy, you understand and you feel how the other person feels. And not everybody can really truly feel how someone else feels. But with the simple understanding and the simple knowledge that, hey, we don't think the same. And even if we did think the same, we can still have different perspectives on something, will get you so much further. And it should be a requirement, but it's not for a lot of people. It just should be. And that's how you effectively communicate things. When you effectively communicate, you're able to grow in your relationships. You're able to understand people at a deeper level. You're able to grow your wisdom and be able to connect with many different people because you're willing to listen and you're willing to communicate how you feel as well. You're not willing to have fake connections. You're not willing to just go with the flow of things just because it makes you feel good right now. You're willing to sit down, have the hard conversations, communicate how you feel, even when it's tough and hard, and require people who you deal with to communicate with you so that you guys can understand where you guys lie in each other's lives. Is this connection helping you? Is this communication for this problem or solution that we need? Is it helping us? Do we need to look at something else? Let's figure things out. Let's talk about it, because talking just gets things out in the open. It just helps so much. And even if we're not talking about an issue or a problem, let's just talk about me, for instance. I'm communicating to you guys right now. And if I wasn't able to be vulnerable, if I wasn't able to be honest, if I wasn't able to just say what it is that's on my mind, I wouldn't be able to give quality content. I wouldn't be able to truly tap into you guys and figure out what it is that I need to explore more, what it is that I need to work on, what it is that you guys might need to hear. Whatever the case is, the fact that I'm understanding of where other people are at, understanding of how I am, and honest with you guys, vulnerable with you guys, able to take accountability in my mistakes and in the things that I do, it makes for quality content. It makes for a healthy conversation. It makes for communication to go around and for other people to learn how to communicate as well. Because I had to learn how to communicate. It's not something that's just given to you. Everyone learns how to communicate in a certain way, and then we branch out and we learn how to communicate with others, because when you're born and you're with your parents and everything like that, they teach you how to communicate their way. Then you go into society and they teach you how to start connecting with different people, and how your communication might not be as effective, but if you take a little bit from everybody, you'll start to learn, hey, this is how I need to address this situation. This is how I need to address that situation, so on and so forth. So I did a little research on communication styles, because it's very important to know the facts, but it's also very important to just talk. We don't always have to just spit a book out at people. But the 3 main communication styles that I came across were passive, aggressive, and assertive. Okay, so having a passive communication style basically means that you just kind of let things slide under the rug. You avoid talking about your feelings. You avoid voicing your wants and desires out of a situation or relationship, and you don't feel comfortable being honest and open about how you feel. So you do a passive type of thing. Either you say something, but it's like a passive aggressive type of thing, like, oh, so that's what you want to do type thing, when that's how you feel. And if you just said how you felt, maybe that person could act a different way towards you or would know your boundary. Or you could just be straight up passive and just not say anything and then just blow up one day because people do that all the time as well, keeping their feelings to themselves and just not saying anything, hoping that things will change in the ether somewhere when no one knows what's going on. The next one, being aggressive, is, you're voicing your opinions, you're voicing how you feel, but you're doing it in a very threatening, conniving, and mean way. You're not really doing it effectively. You're probably yelling, this is what I need, da 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 da, ra ta ta ta, and you are just off the ledge with your feelings. You're just overwhelmed with the feelings, probably because you've held it in for so long. So when it comes out, you're just ready to blow up on everybody. Or you just have that communication style where you just talk very aggressively and people might take it the wrong way. Even though people take it the wrong way, it's like, yes, you shouldn't have to change for other people, but you do need to realize that everybody takes things differently. And I'm not saying you need to cater to everybody, but I am saying that you have to communicate differently with different people. That's just how it goes. Imagine if everyone talked to us the same way. You wouldn't understand. You wouldn't be able to connect with different people if everyone talked the same way, if everybody communicated the same way, because we don't all think the same, and we all do think differently, but we do have similarities where we can resonate with this person or resonate with that person. The bottom line is, when you're having an aggressive communication style, your message and delivery comes off very mean and very threatening and very like, this is an ultimatum type thing. Either you do it my way or the highway, and I'm gonna be mean about it. I might cut you like a knife with my tongue, and it's just not good for anyone. It makes everyone want to shut down, or it makes people not want to communicate with you at all because they feel like you're hostile, or they feel like there's no getting through to you because you are so aggressive and so high in emotion when you're letting things out. And really working on that is by voicing how you feel when you feel that and not letting things bottle up. So that takes me to the next communication style, which is being assertive. Okay. Being assertive is you communicating your wants, feelings, and desires, but in an open, honest, and respectful way. You know, you're calm about how you're saying things. You're not blaming and pointing fingers at anybody. And you've said it in the moment. You haven't let it build up inside of you to the point where you've created this story that this person or this situation is against you, when really it could just be a simple conversation. So that's the ideal communication style. Of course, we all want to be assertive. We all want to just be able to say what it is, move on, and go back to life, right? But, we have a lot of different factors that happened in our lives growing up as, a child, going to school, different things that molded us to have these different communication styles. So it's really important to look back and wonder, like, okay, why did I learn to communicate this way? Where did it all start? How did I continue it? How did I communicate with other people in the past? And what have people told me about my communication? Do people respect the way that I come to them? Do people feel like they can't talk to me? Do people feel like I hold things in? Think about what people have told you, because people are always going to tell you the truth, whether it's in an argument or it's just subtly talking. Somebody has told you the truth, whether it's your mom, your dad, your relationships, your friendships, your coworkers, your teachers. Somebody has told you how you communicate, and it's up to you to evaluate if you need to change that or if you just need to build and grow on the things that you are already doing that's working for you. So you already know what time it is, y'all. It is example time, all right? I honestly have been all three of these communication styles. So I do feel like it's a journey. It's a journey to get to where you want to be in your communication, especially if you did not grow up with somebody being a super communicator to you, or just having positive examples of what it looks like to have healthy communication. So, of course, I started off being very passive, okay? For about, I don't know, y'all, maybe like, I would say like 23, 24 years of my life. I definitely was a passive communication person. I let things bottle up. I felt like nobody cared about how I felt until I blew up about something. And okay, well, that's more aggressive. So I guess up until like 18, I was passive. I didn't really say too much. I would say, little things, but I didn't say enough. Let's just say that, to make things work for me in my life and make things equal and open and honest with the people in my life. So from like 18 to 25 is when I became aggressive, because I was sick of it. Okay. I was sick of people just running all over me, thinking that they could do whatever. And I just take it. And so here I am trying to figure out life, but everyone's just like, why she got an attitude like that? Like, dang, all we said was this. What's up? And that just happened everywhere. I mean, literally, I just thinking back to the stories, y'all, it's just embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. So before we get to assertive, let me go back to passive and give you guys some examples. When I was in school, mainly, a lot of things happened that I just kind of just let slide, because I was like, I hated confrontation. I didn't feel like anyone valued what I had to say, so why communicate anyway? And I was really codependent on my relationships and friendships. So I didn't want to ruffle any feathers about anything that I felt or how I felt about them, or any situations that came up that made me feel away, because I didn't want to lose them. I didn't want to jeopardize the things that I held so close to. And that's how I viewed communication at the time. Like, saying what's on your mind and saying how you feel about things will make these people leave. And at that time, I didn't realize that, well, if these people leave, then they're not supposed to be in your life. And none of us were mature enough to even handle the type of communication that was needed at that time, to be real. But I definitely wanted to say a lot, but I just didn't. And I would let it fester up, and it would show up in different ways in my life, whether it be through my schoolwork, through different arguments I would have with my boo, and it would have nothing to do with them. me just being sad and depressed and lonely type thing. And it was all because I didn't open my mouth. Like if I just opened my mouth and said something, things could have changed, you know? So let's go to the aggressive part. The aggressive part, it got a little wild, y'all. I was, like I said, I was sick of people doing things and just walking all over me like it was nothing. So I remember at the job that I held for the longest time when I first got out of high school, that job, I got pretty aggressive. I did a lot of things that job just taught me a lot, you know, and I had great mentors that kind of was just like, you gonna have to chill. And so as a manager, because I was a manager there, you know, you're just held to a different standard and you can't be time with people because that's not what managers do. Managers are the mediators. They're supposed to be like, okay, y'all quit so we can get back to work or whatever. But the moment that a coworker or an employee or associate of mine would get out of line or whatever and just kind of like back talk, like I would feel it in my spirit. I really had to learn my lesson with that. And there was some times where my manager would put me in the office like, you gonna have to chill. Like that's not what you need to be doing, especially if you want to keep this position. And I was just like, noted, you know, I got you. I also got to the point where I was in relationships where, you know, I would hold on, and then I would just blow up, just absolutely blow up. When I say like screaming at the top of my lungs, blow up, it was that bad. It was really bad. I mean, even in friendships, I got to a point where one of my best friends, we got into a literal physical altercation because we both were holding in stuff. But I was really, really the one holding in stuff. And one night it just blew up and we just got to fighting. And it was just like, I'm not the girl to get to fighting, but I had so much emotions and anger and feelings and things on my chest that needed to get off of my chest built up because I didn't want the confrontation, that it led to that. It led to me getting into a physical fight with one of the closest people in my life, you know? And so that was a turning point. I mean, it took a couple years for me to look at that situation and be like, yeah, you've grown a lot, and that definitely is not how you should approach any situation in your life ever again. And thank the Lord that was the first and the last time that happened, okay? Being in that situation and really realizing like, you need to talk about your emotions. You need to talk to people if this is how you feel. If you value your connection in your relationships, have the conversation. But it also takes two, you know, because in other situations, like my love relationships, I would communicate. I would say how I felt about things, but things would get brushed under the rug and we would go on the next day like nothing happened and continue to do that same cycle over and over and over again. And so I was in this illusion like, well, maybe I should just not say nothing because everything's cool when I say it and then we just brush past it, even though it happens again. So maybe I just shouldn't say anything. But then I would get to the point where I was just so fed up that I would be like, you know what, I'm over this, we're done, all this kind of stuff. But then I would let this person back in. And I just got so used to people just listening to what I had to say in the moment, but not really caring, you know? And, you know, people can say they care and stuff, but their actions show if they care. Their actions, the things they do differently show that they care. I wasn't being shown that. And that's from my love relationships to my family relationships, because I also felt that with, you know, my parents, both of my parents, I felt that I couldn't bring anything to the table with them. It just was what it was. And a lot of people feel that way with their parents. Not everybody, but a lot of people grow up with parents where they feel like they cannot communicate what it is that they need out of their relationship because you're a child. You know, you're not supposed to know what you need because you're supposed to learn from me or whatever. And that's just not what it is. It's like, no, I know this is how I feel about this situation and our relationship. This is what I want out of it. Can you give that to me? And I definitely was not mature enough to have those conversations with my parents at that time. And so I just kind of let things happen. I let them do what they do, even though I would go home to my boo at the time and just be really upset about how the connection was going or how the meetup went when I saw them. And I just had a lot of pent up emotions and anger and feelings and thoughts and things I needed to get off my chest with these particular people in my life, parents and relationships. And so yeah, I got pretty aggressive. I got pretty aggressive to the point where I was ready to cut everybody off and just be mean and disrespectful and just be like, I don't care what they have to say because this is how I feel. They've known that they've done this forever, and why do I need to be nice about it? Because they didn't care until I said something. I really had to sit back and be like, okay, just because you're upset and you're angry and you feel like they should have known, they didn't know the extent. They didn't know how you felt because in the past you were very passive. You were very passive aggressive, maybe saying little things under your breath or trying to make an example out of something so that they could know. But you never truly said how it is, what you feel, what the deal breakers are for you or whatever. Because as a child, you don't feel like you have that place with anybody, really, not just your parents. You just feel like you don't know what you can say and if you're right. You don't know if like, well, is this how life's supposed to be? You're just trying to figure it out. But then as you get older, you're just like, no, like this is my life. Like I deserve to be happy. And if this is going to make me happy, then I definitely need to speak up and say something so that I can either continue this relationship with these people and we have healthy communication, or I keep boundaries, I keep my distance and find relationships where I can have healthy communications where we can grow and flourish together. So once I got to college, because I don't know if I told you guys this, but I went back to college after getting into the workforce. I was around 25, 24, something around that nature. When I went back, I definitely had a more assertive approach about things. I started to evaluate my relationships like, hey, this is not what I like. Can we change this? Or maybe we need some space from each other because I don't like how you do this thing. You continue to do it even after I've talked to you. Can we do something different? And I've done this with my friendships, especially my closest friendships, and my relationships with my parents and my relationships with boo. So I have definitely gotten to a better space where I'm able to just be like, you hurt me. How can we fix it? Or I don't like the way our relationship is going right now. What can we do differently? I don't like when you do this thing. Can you please not do that? I don't feel seen. I don't feel heard when you do this thing. Can we work on this? And I welcome everyone to do that to me, but I can't expect everyone to be on the same level as me just because I've worked through this. And that's where we also get messed up because we're just like, well, I'm trying to communicate, but this person's not trying to do it with me. You can't expect somebody to do it with you. All you can do is do your part. And if they are on board with you, they are going to do it with you. But if not, you're going to have to find people who communicate with you that way. This is just your flags, your assessment. Like, are these people good enough for me in my life? Are they healthy to keep around? Can they communicate in ways that I need them to communicate with me? And I feel like I'm still in the process of letting go of the relationships that don't communicate with me the way that I need them to. And it's not that I'm letting them go completely. It's just like I'm not putting more energy in than you are. Back to the quote of Word from the Fam today. If you give me the same love I give you, we're good. That's not what the quote said, but that's what I was referring to. The quote basically saying that you deserve the love that you give out, and so why shortchange yourself and not go seeking and opening your heart up to connections and relationships that communicate effectively to you so that you guys can continue to grow, continue to have new experiences with each other, continue to have deeper conversations, because there's things going on all the time, and to not have a deep conversation is to just have a lot of small talk. And I already told y'all in the first episode, I don't do small talk. Okay, you're gonna think that I am one of the biggest bitches because I'm not talking to you, and I'm just like, well, what you got to talk about? You got something? Because when I brought something up, you weren't trying to get deep. So I'm sorry, I don't want to talk about the weather today. I don't want to talk about traffic. I don't want to talk about none of that. I don't want to talk about politics, news, none of that. Let's talk about something that really matters, And not to say politics and news don't matter, but a lot of it is just, I'm a conspiracy theorist. So next topic, okay? But I have to be honest, I do slip back sometimes. I do get to the point where I'm just like, I'm about to cut everybody off and just be super aggressive about my approach. But then I sit back, I meditate on it. I think on it. I give myself a day or two. And then I figure out, okay, these are the words that I need to say. This is my approach. This is how I'm going to tackle this issue. No matter if it's very hard, no matter if my feelings feel like I'm just nervous and anxious about the situation. Let's talk about it. Let's get it out, because we need to grow and we need to continue to have healthy conversations and communicate with each other. It's the only way the world goes around. And we need to have healthy, honest, vulnerable communication, not surface level, fluffed BS communication. We just don't need that. We have enough BS in the world. Okay. So why is communication important? I've already been saying it the whole episode, but I have a little list here. To me, the importance of communication is, number one, full transparency. Be honest, being open, being able to be transparent about how you feel, who you are, and how you feel about relationships and things of that nature. Number two is the flow of emotions. You're just allowing yourself to be. You're allowing yourself to feel how you feel, and being able to communicate that will just continue the flow of emotions for you. You won't feel like you have to put a wall up, or you feel as if you cannot have healthy communication within your relationships. Number three, it gets you comfortable with being vulnerable. That transparency, the flow of emotions, it gets you comfortable. It's practice for you to continue to be vulnerable and continue to have an open heart in the right situations. You know, we don't just want to be vulnerable and open to any and everything in the world, because that's how, weak-mindedness happens in your life. But you need to learn the difference in when to be vulnerable and when to keep your boundaries up. But don't shut off your vulnerability and openness to people and situations that truly deserve that vulnerability and openness. And number four is honoring and accepting your emotions. When you're able to communicate how you feel, you're able to sit back and be like, oh, I'm glad I got that off my chest, because this is truly how I felt. I'm honoring how I felt. I don't want people to feel as if I'm always happy-go-lucky or not able to communicate how I feel because I'm scared of the outcome. Or I don't want to hold myself back from my emotions and how I feel and not honor it by communicating to people how I feel. Because at the end of the day, if I'm not able to communicate with y'all, why are you here? Why are you here? Okay. If you listen to Flo Millie, I was definitely about to quote one of her songs, but yes, I just want you guys to understand the importance of communication, because it's deeper than just a conversation. It gets your emotions out. It gets you to grow and be open and vulnerable and honest and true and loving and empathic towards yourself, towards others, towards situations, towards your relationships, whatever. It helps. It helps you grow. And it helps you to just be you. So yes, you guys, that was the topic of the day, the power of communication. It wasn't deep. It was just, let's just talk for a minute. Let's communicate, okay? But I hope you guys found some love, light, and healing in that message. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and shimmy on over to the lab, where we're going to take this knowledge, marry it with our experience, and create some wisdom. Let's go. All right, you guys. So in the lab today, we have 4 shadow working prompts. I'm so curious to know if you guys did that essay question last week, because ain't no slipping past me. So, but you guys already know I have my handy dandy notebook here. So if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. The first shadow working prompt is, in what ways do I express my communication? Okay. In what ways do I express my communication? Number 2, how has my communication helped me in the past? And how has it hindered me? I love these 2 questions. So number 2, how has communication helped me in the past? And how has it hindered me? Okay. When I say hindered, I mean like you being passive, you being aggressive, or if it's helped you, you being assertive. Number 3, what was my first example of communication? What was my first example of communication? And that's back in your childhood. Who communicated with you first? What group of people did you see that you really liked their communication style? All that good stuff. What was your first example of communication that you adopted or that you saw? So addressing your current or old relationship with communication, how can I create a new relationship with communication? If you feel like you need to change something, how do you feel that you can create a new relationship with communication? And even if you don't feel like you need to change something, you always need to change something. How do you feel like you can address communication in a more effective way for you and the ones around you? All right, you guys, that is all of the questions for the lab this week. Go ahead and get them in your notebook, and I hope you dig deep, okay? No surface level questions around here. We're going to go ahead and get into my favorite part of the show, a moment. Okay, you guys, if you guys are new here to a moment, this is where we have a 5-minute meditation and we do the ear method. The ear method is basically a method where we do breathing techniques. We inhale and embrace our thoughts, we hold and accept our thoughts, and then we exhale and release our thoughts. The listening ear method is for my people who give everyone else a listening ear, but we rarely give it to ourselves. So this is your moment. Please eliminate all distractions and pause this if you are around distractions where you cannot meditate right now. You deserve this 5 minutes to yourself, and I'm here to give it to you, okay? So for the first minute, I will guide you through the ear method, and then 4 minutes later, or for the next 4 minutes, you will go ahead and continue your meditation, focusing on whatever you want to focus on, okay? So before we get started, we're going to go ahead and clear the energy. Make sure that you are breathing from your diaphragm, your stomach area, and controlling your breath through there. Do not use your lungs. You get a deeper breath through your diaphragm. So let's go ahead and get started and just clear the energy. Take a deep breath in for me, please. And release that. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and inhale and embrace. Hold and accept. Exhale and release. Inhale and embrace. Hold and accept. Exhale and release. Inhale and embrace. Hold and accept. Exhale and release. Inhale and embrace. Hold and accept. Exhale and release. Inhale and embrace. Hold and accept. Exhale and release. The next 4 minutes is all up to you guys. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, you guys. Welcome back from the meditation. I hope that helped you clear your mind a little bit, just gave you stillness in today, and that this meditation practice is working for you guys. I hope that it's really helping you just relax and get to a better space, because that's what meditation is for, just to help you chill out, okay? But without further ado, that is the end of this week's episode. It's been a great time working with you guys in the shop today. But before I leave, I just want to remind you where you can find us at. You can always find us on IG and TikTok at thea.w.podcast. And you can find us streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube for the video versions. If you have PodBean, go ahead and get that. But if you don't, then yeah. I told you guys next week I will let you know what other apps I'm going to be on, because PodBean is definitely, it's a beast of a program, and I got to figure out all the nuances, but I love to learn, so it'll be fun for me. It'll be real fun. Awesome.